Alright guys, this is lesson 7 solutions video. There's quite a bit in lesson 7, so just kind of pay attention. Some of you have already got it all done, so if you already do, then that's awesome. So we're looking at initializing variables and setting animations because we've introduced sprites in this particular lesson. So if you look at the code and look at how it works. So what we've done is we've created a variable, we've called it a name, this one we called fruit, and then we created a location for it to go on the screen. So if I hit the show grid, and then what we've done is we've set that animation to a picture. And in this particular picture, we called it apple. Okay, so we have a choice between apple and carrot. So the first one is apple. Then we created a second variable. We called it vegetable. We placed it in a spot. And then we made sure that we used the same variable name when we set the animation to the picture of the carrot. And then just like the last lesson, we have to put the draw sprites code at the bottom so that it draws the pictures on the computer. We hit run, and there we go. We can see the location, 300, 300 for the carrot, 100, 200 for the apple. You can mess around with these and change the numbers or whatever and rerun it, and you can see that it changes the positions and that sort of thing. You can change the carrot to an apple if you want. So now they're both apples. So if you know how this code works, it's going to make it a little bit easier in the next couple of sections here. All right. So then there's a video which we watched in class. So if you need to watch the video, go back to watch that video. Number 4, skill building. So creating sprites, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be initializing a variable and giving it a name. So at the beginning, your sprites will just be like rectangles, and basically just plain old gray rectangles like you can see right here. So what it wants you to do this, it says add the variable sprite. So let's go to our sprites. Let's put that under here. And we're just going to call it sprite. We're not going to call it anything else. All right. And then in order for this to draw, we have to go back and put our draw sprites code in at the bottom. Then we run the program, and there we go. It's just a plain old rectangle. Okay. So let's move on. All right, so if we look at this one, we should end up with 2 sprites. We should end up with 2 gray squares, right? So if I run the program, only one of them shows up. And if you look at it, it's the one that's located at 100, 200. So here's 100, 200 right here. It's not showing the second one, okay, which should be at 300, 200 right here. Why is that? Well, remember, it will only draw the sprites above the draw sprites code. So this one, all you have to do is you have to take the draw sprites block and move it to the bottom. And now if we reset it and run it, there we go. Don't worry about these two errors right here because we're going to be fixing those in the next couple of sections. So there we go. That's the answer to that when you just drag the draw sprites to the bottom. Okay, so it says run this code to see what happens. Let's run it. And what we see here is we have an alien. And if you look down here where it says variable bottom right sprite, there's alien. So after you know how to find sprites, what you want to do here is we're going to set the animation. Now, I always put the animation right under the variable name when I initialize a variable. You don't have to do it that way, but it's more organized. And when you start creating programs that are hundreds of lines of code, you want to keep it as organized as you can. So if we have top left sprite, so what we want to do is set the animation. I'm going to put one right there. Now this word sprite has to match this one exactly, including all the uppercase and lowercase letters. So what I do is I just click on it, and I'm going to either left click and copy. Doesn't let me copy that way. So what I'm going to do is click on it, and then I'm going to hit the control button and then the C for copy. Down here I'm going to hit control V, and there we go. All right, and then you can see the animations. I've got 3 other animations to try. I've already used alien, so let's do bunny. So if I reset it and run it, the top left sprite right up here should be a bunny. And there it is. All right, so we just have to do that for the other 2. We have to set the animations. So I like to put them, like I said, right under the variable that you initialize. So remember, these 2 have to be renamed. So this one is top right sprite. So I'm going to Control C, Control V. There it is. I've already used Bunny and Alien, so let's do Flybot. And down here, I want to copy and I want to paste that one there. And the last one is the red plane. And if we reset it, there we go. All 4 sprites appear exactly where they're supposed to be. All right, let's move on. So the video here, you guys are watching that on your own. All right, so this one is just a test in the order in which you put your code and the names that you give your variables. So if I run the code, see, we want to have the soda and the ice cream cone to appear in the back with the get ready on top. So if I hit run, so we see a couple of issues. Number one, the cone is on the wrong side and we don't have the can show up, and the get ready is behind. So if you look really carefully, there's a couple of things to do here. So we have our variable called message. We set the animation called message. Right? So those two match. We have our variable that we initialized called drink. Then we set our animation for the variable that we call drink. So those two match. Here's the problem. So we initialized the variable dessert, but we used the wrong variable down here. It should say dessert and not drink. So let's fix that up. So now it matches. Okay, so now let's rerun the program. Boom. So now we have both pictures in the right spot, but we have the message appearing in the wrong spot. So we see these two up here are the message. So what we want to do is we want to put these two underneath, but it has to be above draw sprites. So I'm going to drag the first message down here. Boom. And then I want to go ahead and drag the one that goes underneath it right there. So now we have message. So now if I reset the program and run it, there we go. Everything's in the right order. Everything has been named properly. All right, so that one's done. Number 9. This one is a matter of you kind of matching. I'm not going to do this one for you, but it's a matter of matching these up. So here's the key. We have a picture of a dog. We have a picture of an elk. And the draw sprites function appears in different spots on each one of these. So the question is, which one is which? So we can see that if we have the dog and the elk right here, this one must be the one that's complete, that has the draw sprites at the bottom, because the dog and the elk both appear. So that would be that one right there. Okay. So the other two, all right, we have the dog has been the initial variable's been initialized, but the animation is underneath this draw sprites here. This one here just has the draw sprites above both of these, so you can see that no pictures are going to show up for this one. So this one has to go up top. All right, and then the other ones. So this one shows the variable of dog initialized, and then it's drawn on the screen. But the elk is under draw sprites, so it won't show up on the screen. So that one has to be that one. And then, of course, this one has to be this one. Okay, so that's the correct order. I told you I wasn't going to do it for you, but then I went and did it anyway. Duh. All right. The practices. So 2 of these practices I'm not going to do because these are kind of you being creative, but the other 4 all have specific answers. The other 2 are kind of on your own. All right, so let's look at the code here. All right, so this code looks good, but here's one problem. Nothing shows up. So this one's easy. This one is just the draw. It's missing the draw sprites at the bottom. All right, now it'll work now. Run. Okay. Now the only thing that I would do, you don't have to do this, but see, like I said to you guys, I like to initialize the variable and then I put my set animation under it. So I like to have sprite 1, sprite 1, sprite 2, sprite 2. You don't have to do this because you can see that the program runs fine without it. But I like it like this. All right. If you turned it in the other way and didn't have them like organized like I do, I'd still give you full credit. It's just a personal preference. See, it still runs. All right. But I just think this is more organized. Okay. This one is making some errors disappear. All right. So again, it's organized differently. This one is just, this one's got some spelling errors in it. So if I run the program, there's some spelling errors. So you can see here, if I go to the drop-down menu, Tyrannosaurus is spelled wrong. See, here's the correct spelling of Tyrannosaurus. It should have two N's in it, so that's easy to fix. Down here, it says grass 2. Grass 2. Okay, so, but see, we have a problem. Let's run the program. All right, so we have the sun. And we can see that the sun should have a capital letter on it. So we're going to put capital S for sun. Oh, we still have another problem. So grass 2. So we have a 1, 2, and a 3. But you'll notice here we have a 1, 2, and a 4. Okay. So let's call this one grass 2. And this one, if I run it, won't work because it should be grass 4. Like that. Now I reset it. There it is. Everything appears. Now, again, just like I told you guys before, I like to reorganize my code. It's just a personal habit of mine. Like so. It doesn't affect the way it runs. It's easier to find things later for me. Alright, so that's the way I like my code. Alright? This one here, there's a bunch of ways to do this one, but again, because I like to be organized, I'm going to show you the way that I would do it. So we run the program, and it shows one cherry and then the other ones. See, the basic problem is that everything has the exact same name. Sprite, and so on. And they're all they're all the same picture. So what I would do is I would call one. You could either call them Sprite 1, Sprite 2, Sprite 3, or you could call them Cherry 1, Cherry 2, Cherry 3, which is what I'm going to do. Cherry 1, Cherry 2, Cherry 3. So then I just have to make sure that I have corresponding names here. So Cherry 1, Cherry 2, Cherry 3. And then reset it, and then they all appear. And again, I like to match my pictures to my animations, but you don't have to. Okay? And the last one, sprite order. Okay, so we're in the program, and the problem is we have the snails behind the cactus and so on. So this is just a matter of moving these around. So we want the snail to appear under the cactus, like so. And then the ladybug is behind two sets of grass there, so we want to put the grass 1 and grass 2 above ladybug, so they appear first. There we go. That was easy. And again, you don't have to do this, but I like to do this. I like to match them up. Snails there, ladybugs there. Boom. That's it. In the right order. All right, let's look at the assessment. I'm not going to do the assessment for you. So basically what you're going to do here, guys, is you have to put two pictures on the screen. You don't have to make this. That's just an example. Okay, it just says the example is just one way to complete the level. So what you have to do is you have to create a variable. So you have to create a sprite. Okay, and you call it what you want it, and then you have to make it into something. So remember, you go to animation. So I'm going to choose two things. So go to new animation. Let's do animals. I'm just going to figure this out. Let's go snake. There we go. And then I'll do another animal. And let's see. Let's go a bee. All right, and there they are. So now if I go back to my code, let's call this one snake. So that means I have to call this one snake. And I have to choose snake. Boom. When I run the program, nothing happens. What did I forget? That's right, I forgot to put my draw sprites underneath there. So let's reset it and run it. There's my snake head. Now I want to put the bee in there. So I'm going to go variable and animation. Now they're probably going to be, the sizes are probably going to be messed up. Bee. And I'm not going to really arrange the sizes at this point. But you just need to have two things appear on your screen. This one's at 200, 200. Let's put this one at, say, 300, 300. reset it and run it. Boom, there's the B. Okay, so you have two things on the screen. And that's all you need to do for this one. All right, good luck.